My Mustang fans and surrounding areas. So for the first time here on the MPND Sports Network, we're going to be talking Ingleside Mustang soccer. I'm really happy about bringing on soccer. We had football this year. We've done some basketball. And tonight, for the first time, we're going to have the boys and talk about the Ingleside Mustangs soccer. And on the screen, I have the head coach for the Mustangs, and that's Coach Lewis Williams. Coach Will, how you doing?
How we doing, big time? Good to see you.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to thank you for taking some time to come out here and talk about your program. We're trying to do this with all the programs there in Ingleside, softball and baseball coming up. So hopefully we'll be able to get the coaches on as well. Coach Will has committed to coming on every Thursday. Every Monday to talk about his program and when he's available. So if he's available on Mondays, he'll be coming in. I'll be creating the post to let you guys know. When he's unavailable, then he can't. But hopefully we can get him on every Monday. He'll be bringing on at times. He'll be bringing on. You'll see some of his players come on this podcast as well, so we can recognize his players. And at times, coach, if you don't have a player, we'll recognize one of his players of his choosing. But we're hoping every week or every other week we can at least bring some of the players to come on and visit with us. Hopefully, they're not too shy. But coach, again, for coming out and spending some time with us, we really appreciate it. Soccer
Absolutely.
now in the fold. So Mondays we got basketball, we got soccer, we got a lot of podcasts going on here for Ingleside on the MPND Sports Network. Coach, I'd like to start things off before we get talking about the games and the season and all of that other stuff, just to kind of give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the community of Ingleside. For those that don't know, Coach, or the surrounding areas they'll be watching this podcast, who is Coach Will? How long have you been a coach at Ingleside? How long have you been coaching soccer? And anything else you want to tell us about yourself, Coach?
Yes, sir. I've been. I actually opened the boys soccer program in 2019. So this is year six for me in Ingleside, and then obviously coaching soccer for Ingleside at the high school level. I've spent 7 years coaching soccer, and total levels 10 years coaching soccer. And I was a first assistant and JV Blue Team coach at Veterans Memorial High School when they opened. And then about 3 years later, when Ingleside decided to open a program, when Coach Hamrick gave me a call and said that he knew I had experience and wondering if I wanted to open another program. And I was like, absolutely, I'd love to. Came out, and did a lot of recruiting. The first couple years, it was half the program was soccer players, and the other half was players who, probably maybe never played before or just wanted to get the opportunity to try to play. And we got the ball rolling, and then the second year, I kept on recruiting kids, and we ended up getting enough to start a JV program. And for the last 5 years, we've been a very solid varsity and JV programs with we've been averaging about 40 players per year. And this year, particularly, we had about 68, I think, total, either tryout or tryout in the class or whatever the case may be. So we're really building the program, getting a lot of quality coming up. I've been visiting a lot of the little league games and going to check those kids out. And the fifth grade, fourth grade, third grades, I'll go to GJM, which is our one of our elementaries, and visit those kids. I brought some soccer balls over there to try to get them rolling, if you will. And my wife is the nurse over there, so I like to go out there and catch those little boys games whenever they have games on the weekends, and just show face and whatnot in the community and whatever, to get people involved, and make people understand that we really have grown. Our first year that I opened the program, we didn't have an opportunity to play for playoffs because it was already inside of UIL districts. So they gave us an outlaw schedule, and we just played basically like 9 or 10 varsity games. And the second year, we actually got put in a district. We were put in that Kingsville and SGA district, and we ended. It was an that year it was an eight team district. Top four make playoffs, and we got fifth place. The second year we were in the district, otra vez, we got fifth place again. And then finally we cracked the mold that third year in the district, and we ended up getting fourth place, made playoffs, ended up playing Hidalgo's district, and we played the first place team over there, and went to the second round of the playoffs and lost to Brownsville Sports Park. Um, and then last year we after that playoff, last year we came into year four, and I came with an attitude that we already kind of had the all the specific ingredients to make the playoffs and be a quality side, and we got to the season, and war of attrition hit us ugly. We dealt with a lot of injuries and dealt with a lot of sicknesses, and we ended up right on the verge those last three games of making the playoffs back to back, and all we had to do was win out, and we had London on the ropes down 3-0, and then we let them off the hook. They ended up winning the game, and then we won our last two, but we needed Beeville to lose, and Beeville ended up winning. So we ended up missing the playoffs last year, literally by 1 point. Had we won the game versus London, we would have actually made the playoffs in the third place position, which is crazy. I don't know if y'all know how playoffs work in soccer, but essentially you can win a game and you get 3 points. You lose a game, you get 0 points. If you tie a team and you beat them in penalty kicks at the end, you'll get two. And if you tie a team and you lose to them in penalty kicks, you'll get one. So essentially, we missed playoffs by one penalty shot lost game.
That,
And that was last year. And then this year, we did a lot of building over the summer. A lot of kids returning. I actually got three kids on varsity right now that are freshmen. Very, very talented young men. Couple sophomores in that mix that are absolutely amazing. Only have three seniors this year, so we're extremely young. We came in, and they have a Twitter poll on a Twitter handle on soccer, boys and girls soccer, and they normally do polls every so many weeks. And the regional polls came out that they had Ingleside ranked as the 12th best team in the region. So everybody was all excited about that. And, we had a lot of, good early moments in the preseason and scrimmages. But we ended up having a bad time at the last tournament last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, excuse me, where we lost a couple players due to injuries. One kid specific, his elbow got dislocated pretty ugly. And so we went to this past weekend. We went 1-2 in that tournament, and then this past weekend we went to Pleasanton, where we were playing two top regional teams and a 5A team. And no excuses. We held our own for the most part, but we just couldn't get out of our own way, and we ended up going 0-3 in that tournament. So now we're kind of gearing up and getting everybody, trying to get everybody healthy for district starting tomorrow versus Toloso. So high hopes, a lot of great players inside the program at the varsity and the JV level, and I really do nothing but positive vibes and positive energy for the season going forward. So super excited, super blessed, and just ready for the season to start. Really.
well, it sounds like it's really good. Like I said, we're happy to be able to have and talk soccer weekly here and go out there and catch some games. Like I said, we kind of do podcasting and live stream for three schools: Soloso Midway, Rockport Fulton, and Ingleside. So when Rockport and Ingleside meet, we can stream the game, we can catch it both and put them on the networks. Is the goal for us this year to be able to do that for those uh, uh, family, parents, grandparents, I'm sorry, they live out of town, they can't come to maybe 1, 2 games. The live stream will help them be able to support. You got alumni that
Yeah.
graduate, they always want to come back. They can't. They're in college. They can jump on the network and be able to support our soccer programs that way and the players. But coach, it's great. I mean, it's winter time. I know soccer is played when it's really really cold in the
Yep.
months of January and February. I see a lot of people out there with blankets, and it's a lot of fun, man. Fans
Yep.
get into it, and I've caught a couple of games in Rockport over the last 2 years, boys and girls, and it's exciting, man. It's a rough sport, and the reason that I wanted to cover it, one reason was because they put a lot of time. Your athletes, you got to be in great shape to run that football field, to run that soccer field, and so to be able to live stream it, to be able to bring some recognition during the time when it's cold, I
Yes,
think it's
sir.
important for the athletes and for the program. So that's why we do that, especially for soccer, because I know people, it's cold out there. I said, I know, but you still go out there. It's a lot of fun. I played soccer when I was younger, not in school, but before I got in there, when I was in my elementary years, and I loved it, man. I played every Saturday morning. It was great. I was about average. I wasn't a superstar or anything, but I really, really enjoyed it. And so being able to cover it and talk to coaches about it, it's a lot of fun. So again, we're going to get coaches starts here in a bit. We're going to kind of recap a little bit more about the tournament, about the non-district. There really isn't a lot as district starts. Just a couple of games. Tournament probably gets you a couple more games in there, and it's really quickly in the district. And we'll get coaches thoughts on the upcoming game tomorrow. I believe that's a home game, coach,
Yes, sir.
tomorrow against Toloso Midway. So it's another school that we cover as well. So that's going to be exciting to see how that goes out, plays out. I think this is a tough district, coach. I've looked at it, I've watched it over the last 2 years.
Yep.
London's been great last year. Rockport Fulton, I followed them last year. They graduated a lot of their seniors. There was a senior group last year.
Yes, sir.
Allen, Beeville was tough. So, in no means is Ingleside, is this district easy at all. It is a tough, tough district, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Some great players, some good competition. So come on out, definitely watch it and watch some good soccer. Coach,
Yeah,
before
we call our district the gauntlet because some of the districts, some of the other soccer districts have like 5 and 6 team districts, and basically you beat one team or two teams and you're in the playoffs essentially. We have a 9 team district, and when you're talking about 9 team district, you're talking about cream of the crop, some players and some coaches and some teams that have been around for years and continue to turn over very talented divisional opponents and Corpus Christi London and Beeville and Santa Gertrudis, Rockport Fulton, Toloso Midway. It's just one of those things that you look and you're like, oh Lord, like we've been, like I said, we've been blessed to be in the top 5 for the last 5 years, but like, some of these teams are heavy hitters, and it's Cal Allen is in the district, and Bishop is in the district, and Bishop's, a club team. So, you got, it's just one of those things like you look at it, you're like, it's not one of those things where you like look at the teams and you're like, that's a win, that's a win, that's a win. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that you're literally next game up type deal. Like you're not looking past any teams. Cause like last year, for instance, I'm just gonna give you an example. Some of the bottom of the barrel teams that everybody was like, oh, that's win. 2 of those teams ended up tying 2 of the top teams. You know what I mean? So, and then like for instance, like last year in the first round, we have to play 2 rounds just like basketball and baseball, right? First round of the district, we played Toloso Midway last year, and we beat them 7-1, right? And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we're playoff bound and da da da." And then the second time around, when we needed to beat them in order to be playoff bound, they got us at their house 3-2. You know what I mean? So it's literally any Tuesday or any Friday night, any team can win, and these teams are all built for it. Built for the long haul. Like if Cal Allen and TM, for instance, and Beeville también, these teams are, the schools are, 900 kids, 1,000 kids, and we're sitting at I don't know 600, a shade under, So when we are able to compete with those teams and win at times, it's really really satisfying. But at the same time, the kids know that we have much bigger goals and much bigger fish to fry, if you will. And we have a situation where we're in a very good spot with very talented kids, and if we just continue to grind and continue to put in the work, that's effectively going to help us win those solid games versus those top tier teams. We're going to be a playoff team easily, you know. But it's still, once again, we're still working out the kinks. I'm having to replace a couple players right now due to, like I told you, injuries and such. And so we're trying to kind of figure out. Some people are trying to learn new positions and whatnot. So once they get it, we're going to be a hard team to beat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And again, district starts tomorrow here in Ingleside against Toloso Midway. And like Coach says, it's if you're a soccer fan, you definitely want to come out and see it because I don't think one team can say, "Oh yeah, we're first place." I mean, there is some tough competition.
Yeah.
So as a soccer fan, you want to see that comp. I mean, you want to see your team win, but
Yep.
this is going to be good. There is some very good teams, and I have followed this soccer for the last 2 years. And so I know what London's got because I've seen it talking to the coach in Rockport and following them because we've been
Quality.
on this podcast soccer for now 2 years over in Rockport. Now we're starting it over this year with Ingleside and Toloso Midway. Coach, I'd like to be giving an opportunity before we continue to move on to talk a little bit about your assistant coach. I don't know if you have more than one, but I know you have at least one. Talk to us
Yes,
a little
sir.
bit about the assistant coach and what is his or her responsibility here for us.
My assistant coach is Coach Marquise Barol, who is, I mean, I'm sure you probably know him. He is an Ingleside legend. Much bigger than many names that have come out of Ingleside. All American collegiate football player for I think 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Um, just a number one, energy wise, just always energetic. He will actually put on. I mean, I will as well, but he's quick to put on cleats and get on the field with the boys, and constantly, always. Every time I feel like maybe I'm out of sorts or maybe I make a sub or need a sub or need to reconfigure something about our strategy. I don't. I'm not one of those coaches that I have all the answers. If that makes sense, I like to think I know quite a bit because I've been around the game for a long time and I have some of the best mentors in the world. Um, but anytime I surmise anything or make any type of plan or anything, I always immediately, Coach Bro, talk to me. This is what I got. What do you tell me about your thoughts on it? And he's always a very level-headed coach, and he's always able to give me a very, very, very how do you call it? Like calculated plans for what we need to do going forward, if that makes sense. So it's extremely, it's one of those things where, like, I've had multiple assistant coaches. I've been an assistant coach, and the role is probably one of the most important things in the program. Yeah, head coach is important, sure. The players are very important, the managers, the trainers, but this, I mean, man, there's no replacing a quality, thoughtful assistant coach that is really able to dissect the game and give you good information going forward on what you can do or what we can do to be better, if that makes sense. And Coach Barol, he's been, I think I want to say this is year 3 with me now, and every year he just continues to get better and better and better about analyzing the game and really communicating with me on different things that are either hurting us or helping us or players that may possibly be better in a specific role, if that makes sense. So huge shout, it was just his birthday the other day too. A huge shout out to Coach Barrow. Like I said, he's a big part of what we do and how we do it, and and really always keeps all the kids on their toes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And Coach Will, it's amazing. I always talk, even when I talk to Coach Chrisman during football season, those assistant coaches, another reason why we do the podcast, recognizing them. Maybe we can get them on a couple of podcasts before the season ends with you.
Absolutely.
I think, they a successful program or a program in general, but when when you see success in a program and they're winning, those assistant coaches put so much time like the head coach
Yes.
And we can't have that success without them. The time they put in with the players, with the game plan. And so we always want to recognize them. And it seems like we
Absolutely.
got a really good one here. And
Absolutely.
and the other thing that's amazing to me, he's from Ingleside. Coach McHugh's from Ingleside. I'm learning Coach Cofield. These coaches, and maybe there's some more, but I know of these three that were big time, and they're able to come back
Yep.
and coach for the alma mater, right? Which I always say, when you're a coach, you want to win, no matter
Yeah,
what. But when you're coaching for your alma mater, it's just that much more special when you get
for sure.
because you went out there. So it's great. We've got some great coaches there. Coach Chrisman was also able to tell us about his assistant coaches when we were in football. So that's awesome. And now that we go from coaches to the players, right? The players are important. Coach, I don't know if you have a roster, but if you can tell us who's on the team this year, our varsity team for the 2024-2025
Coach,
season.
I got it. So it's been a fluctuating roster for me, going through the scrimmages and preseason. Once again, like I said, the war of attrition really has kicked in these last couple weeks. So we've really had a lot of kids from JV having to come up and play some really big minutes for us, you know. And so varsity wise. We got a young man by the name of Wyatt Thelin. He's a junior. Um, just a probably the most respectful kid probably on campus, if I'm being honest. Just yes sir, no sir. You know, whatever you need. Anytime you tell him anything, there's no rebuttal. What I gotta do, you know what I mean? Rowdy Ruiz, he's a holding mid for us, slash a midfielder in general. Just a spark plug, just a kid that's just all over the field. Aiden Cantu, he's a midfielder slash winger for us, freshman at that, and just a certified stud. He played in the middle school tournament last spring, and I think scored 3 goals for us. Just a bad dude. Asher Alanis, he's a wingback for us. He plays defense. Probably like the second fastest dude in the program, if I'm being honest. Just can turn around and get out quickly. Tyler Hoskins, he's a winger for us. He's a junior now. Started for me as a freshman, and just a dude that can. Once again, he's probably the fastest kid in the program. Preston Olivares, kid that plays cam mid. I could put him at wing. Um, Plays club. He plays anytime he gets the opportunity. He's also one of the kickers for the varsity football team. Lewis Dietrich, holding mid defender. A great kid, all A student, just a stud on the field. Jordan Aparicio, another freshman who plays wing for us, scored 2 goals in the preseason, just a certified stud. Cesar Rodriguez is the one that I told you that I was telling you about earlier. He's one of our captains, a kid that just epitomizes everything you want out of a student athlete. Just respect, hard nosed, works in the weight room, works on the field, doesn't say too much, just shows it with his actions, you know. Egan Prevet, he another defensive back. He plays right alongside of Cesar, who is 4 years, got 4 years. His freshman year, he's a football player. I told him to come out and try, and he ended up being a stud just out of nowhere. A great kid though. Samuel Munoz, a midfielder and a goalkeeper. Great kid, a sophomore. Samuel Gomez, sophomore midfielder. Adan Gamboa, he's one of our wings and midfielders, about 6'3" or something like that. And when he starts running, you're not going to catch him. Uh, Jaden Moreno, he's one of our defenders. And then we got my son Kason, who's one of our goalkeepers. We got a couple other names that I know I'm missing. So I don't have my full roster in front of me, but um, like I said, just the team is just Jonathan Ramirez, um, and Aaron Flores. He's one of our defenders. Aiden Salazar, one of our goalkeepers. And like I said, it's after those tournaments, you know when you kind of take, y'all know how it is. Like when it comes to sports, just in general, whenever you get like hit, whether it be tragedy or whether it be injuries or whether it be failing people or whether it be anything really. and you deal with that type of stuff in a program, um, it's very important to really be able to measure everything and calculate everything based on what's going on. Like, you take losses in tournaments and preseason games, but that's what they're for learning your personnel, learning how you can coach the kids, because not every group is the same. You can coach one group one way, and then you get to the next year and you have to coach them a totally different way. So I really, coming in prior to all our injuries and all the negative stuff that happened early on, we had this set, like we could easily be a not only a playoff team, but a team that goes far in the playoffs. Does that make sense? And based on the roster and how it was constructed. And then when all the attrition started hitting, we started dealing with all these small things. It was tough to overcome in those tournament matches, because now we're dealing with players out of position, or players I have to bring up for the junior varsity to play in those key positions. And that cost us, you know what I mean? So I think that, all in all, our roster and those kids that I just named are going to be better for all the things that have happened on the early on in these first, 2 weeks of the season, 2.5 weeks of the season, because it's going to make them stronger, mentally more tough. It's going to be able. I'm now able to play players in different positions, and now they have a better understanding for that. And I think that at the end of the day, getting into district tomorrow, we're really going to see what we look like. You know, I always tell the kids, even in the first half of district is always a tale of two halves, right? The year we made playoffs, we had a very poor first half of district. In the second half, we came out and stunted, and that's how we made playoffs. You know what I mean? So it's all in all about competing every week, and just continuing to get better and get the kids to understand the process and the system more and more every day. And that's what's really gonna be able to get us over the hump and out of these badlands right now.
No, absolutely, Coach. I spoke to the Rockport coach one year where, yeah, he says, listen, I think he told me one injury, and having to move people around messes everything up. You got,
Yes.
but just one injury can change so much that people don't know. So when you deal with multiple injuries, oh my goodness, that is a lot. And so again, still early on in the season,
Yes.
we can get some of these guys back. And I definitely agree with you that uh, for the adversity that they're facing now, it should make us better down the road. So we hope to get these guys back and healthy, because that's what you need. You need to
Yep.
be to be.
Yes. Health is wealth. Health is wealth. Gabriel, we and in my the I host the tournament that we did, the first tournament. We played against Cal Allen in our second match. We won 3-0 versus Corpus Christi King. And then we get in the game versus Cal Allen, and we get down 1-0. And when I tell you, we lost 6 players in that match. 6. I had 19 rostered. So I'm dealing, and then we had a red card. So on the field, we only had 10 players. So, and that's not an excuse. We should have won still. But I coach football as well, and I've never been in a game or a match where I've lost that many players to injury or anything. You know what I mean? So that's just an idea of things that these kids that are playing are having to deal with. Like, oh, we're down these players and these players and these players. So it's exciting for me knowing that I'm able to cross train some of these players in different positions and get them really established going forward. You know what I mean? Like, you hate to say injuries are a blessing, but at the same time they make other people step up, if that makes sense. So it's really getting those other guys ready for a very long district, 16 matches, you know? So,
Yep.
and anything can happen. You can go 0-4 to start and then go 12-0 to end. You know what I mean? So, and I've seen it. Trust me, I know it can happen. So, we're gonna start tomorrow, and hopefully we start strong. But regardless of how it goes, whether win, lose, or draw, we're me and Coach Burrell are preaching a no matter what happens, remaining even keel, and then realizing that you have another game to play the next day, or excuse me, the next week we have another game to play. So we have to continue to be able to compartmentalize everything and re-up for the next match, because every match is different. And so we're focused on not the next game or the next game, but the game in front of us. So it's going to be exciting, super stoked. We had a good practice today, and Lord providing it continues to work out tomorrow.
It will, coach. And like I said, for the players, you got to be ready. The next fan, the player up, you never know what's going to be an injury. So you got to stay prepared. You got to practice hard. And when your number's called, man, you get an opportunity to shine. And so those that don't start or those that come off the bench or on JV, you never know when your number's going to be called. So stay ready, practice hard, because when your number's called and you get the opportunity, definitely want to put your best foot forward, right, and perform well for the coaches and for your school and the community. Coach, I wanted to talk a little bit and preview the upcoming games. The first one coming up, because until next Monday, we've got two games from starting tomorrow and Friday till you come back on the podcast next Monday. Let's talk about Toloso Midway.
Sir.
And let's go to TM first. It's the first district game of the 2024-25 season here for our Mustangs, our soccer team, our boys. Definitely come on out. Today it was cold, but it wasn't bad. The wind kind of, the morning it started rough, but then the sun kind of came up a little bit. It kind of warmed up somewhat, not too much. But if you can make it out there at home, definitely support our soccer programs. It's our first district game. It's against Toloso Midway. Coach, what can you tell us about Toloso Midway? You played them a couple of times. And what are the key points? What do you want to see from the Mustangs to start District 1-0?
It's super super simple. Gabriel, it's one of those things that if we play with energy and we play as one unit, there's no doubt in my mind that we come away with a win. Low energy and individualism will almost guarantee us not coming out with a win. And that's something we spoke about today and we practiced. And I thought that's why I'm saying I think we practiced very well because we played so together in practice today. We had a little mini scrimmage, and they played so well together and composed, and the energy was high the entire time. And that's what I'm telling them is necessary in order to win. Toloso Midway, Coach Martinez out there, he's a freaking phenomenal coach, great coach. He he is really that program has gone up so much since he got there, and like I said, up until the last game that we played them last season, we had never lost to them in my entire career. So that's a testament to Coach Martinez and what he's built. Pero the thing about it is if we are able to do those two things, that's it. That's because those two things are gonna foster goals, and those two things are gonna keep them from scoring. If that makes sense. Um, Playing with high energy and playing together. Um, and then the last thing I tell them is whenever bad things happen, because it's an 80-minute match, and a bad thing will happen in the match, whether it's a turnover, whether it's they get a shot, us being able to still compose ourselves and continue to fight forward. If we can do those three things, it's gonna be a good game for us tomorrow. And they're gonna be very well evenly matched. We played a couple of common opponents in the scrimmages in preseason, and they were very similar in endings, very tight, right? So I think it's gonna be a well matched match tomorrow. And Lord providing, like I said, we come out after 80 minutes with the win.
Coach, I think that's going to be great. Again, that starts tomorrow. A game time, coach, is at what time? Is this 7:30?
Yes, sir. Six for the JV, 7:30 for the varsity, back to back.
So you're going to have two games. So definitely come out. Varsity starts at 7:30. It's the first district game here at Mustang Stadium. So definitely come on out and support our soccer program and our Mustang boys as they try to go 1-0 in district. And then, coach, I'd like to get your thoughts on London. London is a team that has been good for quite some time. They've got a great soccer program out there. I'm sure you're aware of that. I don't know where they sit this year and how good they are, but key points. What do you want to see from your team when we take them on? I know it's still on Friday, but we won't have you again until Monday. So I want to get your thoughts on London when we play on Monday there at Mustang Stadium in Ingleside.
So London is the big bad wolf, right? They're the back to back district champs, right? Champs three out of the last 4 years. And they're a team that is like that my abuelita says the Kukui, right? It's the team that everybody knows regionally. They were ranked, I think, the last regional rankings they were at like fifth in region out of 68 teams. They were invited, as were we, but they actually went to the hardest tournament in Texas for 4A. And they went up against some stiff competition, so they're battle tested, and they played Flower Bluff, and they're a legitimate team. Um, I think that for that match, once again last year we went toe to toe with them the second go round. Just fell short in the end. Went up 3-0 in the first half, and then ended up losing 5-3. But I think it showed a lot of these boys, the returning boys, primarily, that we can play with anybody, even a high regionally ranked team. And I think that with the match versus London, similar key points to that of Toloso Midway, even more so with the negative aspect, meaning when negative things happen, how do we respond? I know the first time around when we played them last year, a negative happened early, and it was a penalty kick. It was 0-0, like 25 minutes in, and we gave up a penalty because of a silly foul in the box. And I recall when that penalty happened, you just saw, how do you call it? Just the life kind of sucked out of our team. You know what I mean? Because it's a very quality team that can really score anywhere on the field, and we're giving them a give me goal, if that makes sense, with the PK. So like it was like, well, it's already hard enough to score against them. So why, what are we gonna do now, type deal? And we responded negatively and played poorly throughout, kind of more skittish, more I don't want to make a mistake, and in turn made mistakes. Second time around, we played totally opposite of that. We played like we were the Kukui, and we went in and stuck them in their senior night, and we're up 3-0, and they were like head spinning, didn't know what was going on. And then halfway through the second half, there was 7 minutes or 8 minutes left in the match, and we had a conflict in the box with our goalie and one of their strikers, and the goalie blew up and he got a red card, and then they scored on the next play, and then it was once again, it was like, how do you call it, like just chain effect, in 7 minutes they scored 5 goals. So, and it's something I've never been a part of, similar to the Cal Allen game when I told you I lost 6 players. I've never been a part of a game that physical or that dismal. And then, with that one, I'd never been in a game where somebody scored 5 goals in 7 minutes. It's normally 5 goals in 60, right? You know what I mean? But
Yep.
they're good, they're legit, and if you allow them to, they will do that to you. So it's just about us playing to their level, right? If we play to their level, which is our level, right, and we don't play down, we'll be able to compete and we'll win. But if we don't play up and we just kind of just go through the motions, if you will, you know what I mean? Like that's what we had a tendency of doing these last couple tournament games. Then it's going to be a tough go. So I really do have a lot of confidence in the boys for these first 2 matches, gaining confidence because, like I said, every day we've looked better and better and better at a practice, and now that we're getting some key guys back and everything like that, we should be good for these next couple matches. And like I said, if whatever will be, right? The Lord wills what the Lord wills. If we lose, we lose, and we just gotta make sure we dust off our britches and get ready for the next one. Because it is an entire war what we got in district. 16 matches of every match is going to be contentious. Everyone is going to be difficult, whether it's London, Beeville, Bishop, whoever. They're all hard. You know what I mean? So we just got to realize that and understand that. And I've been around the block and back. Some of these freshmen haven't. You know what I mean? So as long as we can get them to understand that and not get too down on themselves when bad things happen, I think we're going to be a-okay.
I think so too, coach. And I'm really getting excited because I know some of these teams, and like I said, the last 2 years I have followed some of these teams, and they're going to be great, great matches. I'm telling you, you definitely want to come out when you get an opportunity to watch some great soccer. This district is tough. It is full of a lot of good coaching, a lot of good talent, a lot of good teams, man, and they're going to beat each other up. Hopefully, there's
Yes.
no injuries. But I'm telling you, there's not one team I think that can say, and even London, as we talk about a team that has dominated the last couple of years, they know there's tough competition here.
Yes.
They got to come with their A game, or they're going to lose more than one game in
Yep.
districts. Definitely looking forward to the season, coach. And it starts tomorrow here in Ingleside. Game one, the Mustangs try to go 1-0 as they take on the visiting Toloso Midway Warriors. Coach, I got two more questions for you now. First, before we get to talking about one of the players, I want to get and talk about the JV. They play games, but I wanted to get from you, talk a little bit about that program. What is it that we're doing? What do you want to see from the JV program? And we want to win games, obviously, but when you put that team together as they continue to get better and learning how to play the game of soccer, and then one day we'll be on varsity. What are you hoping to see from your JV squad this year?
I tell them every year, sir, it is district championship, right? At the JV level, we have a lot of quality kids, and I mean, if you could have them all up, you would, right? But then they get mad that they're not playing and such. But ideally, seeing the concepts that we lay out offensively and defensively, and how we want to attack and how we want to defend, and the energy we're speaking about, right? What we were speaking about earlier. Ideally, seeing that at a lower level, right, in the JV, is mostly what I want to see. If guys are fighting and playing, fighting for every ground and playing together and unified and making the right runs and seeing the tiki taka that we translate in during athletics class, because Coach Barola is not with me during athletics. I'm by myself with all 35, soccer players. So we don't separate there. We keep them all together and we talk about the concepts and how we want to get the through balls and how we want to get the 1-2s and how we want to finish. They all know all my sayings and mantras. So seeing that translate on the field when the JV gets out there and seeing them play in that fashion in those sets, and not just playing kickball, if you will. Um, when we see that, it's definitely it's definitely a sigh of relief and something that we really, really are proud of when they're able to do that, because we coach the little things, and then at the end of the day, we put them on the field, and then they got to do what we ask them to do. But it's difficult when you got 10 other kids running around full speed at you. So them understanding how we want to play is our most important idea. And like I said, the goal is always for the JV as a district championship.
Absolutely. And that should be it. And I'm glad. And that's why we always talk, because, like I said on the podcast, it's not just about, we want to shine light on our seniors because they won't be here next year and the program. But the new JV, that's our future, right? That's the next 2, 3 years. And then, like Coach says, he goes out and looks at his younger players and seeing what they're doing and coming up. And I love that, Coach. I love the fact that the time is being taken to go down there and see what those elementary kids are doing. Look, they're going to be up there before you know it,
Yep.
and you'll be able to see what's coming up. So I love the fact that you do that. And then we talk about the JV level. They're just as important as the varsity. And so on this podcast, we give Coach the opportunity to talk also about his JV program and what his expectations are of that. And then, like I said, hopefully a few times as we continue through the season, we'll have the JV coach, his assistant coach, come up and talk. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Coach, we also, before we let you go and give you your final thoughts, Coach is going to try to bring in some players, like we talked about, maybe next week, but he's going to try to get some of his players to come on and join this podcast with him so we can recognize them. And we'll talk to them first for a few minutes. And then once they come out, then we get to the questions with the coach. But we definitely want to start bringing in some players. So Coach is going to be working on that. But we don't have one today. So, Coach, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about one of your players. Choose whichever player you want, whoever you feel that has possibly been with you for quite some time there. Talk a little bit about his leadership, what he does on the soccer field, but not only that, what does he do in the classroom? What kind of kid is he in the community? Anything you want to tell us? Pick a
Yes,
kid
sir.
and tell us a little bit about one of your players.
So the one I want to speak about today, he's a senior. Um, he's been with me since he was a freshman, and has been really just a hard worker his entire career. And his name is Cesar Rodriguez, and he on the field, he's one of those kids that it's difficult to think about even replacing because of how much he means to the system, how much he means to other players, how well he works, and how meticulous he is with what he does on the field with his dribbling, his passing, todo. And he is, I want to say, a 4.2 GPA guy. Like when I tell you, like top of the top, like cream of the crop. His brother was as well. His brother was a senior last year, and he just a great, just solid young man. You can't really put like if you say, number one being the best, number 10 being the lead. I mean, he's above one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just one of those. Just when it comes to like, forget playing. Just an individual, just a top tier kid. Um, Somebody that the respect is out the roof, and whenever being communicated with by myself or Coach Barol, uh, there's if you ask him for enunciation, he'll give you, a statement. But when you're talking to him, it's nothing more than a yes sir or no sir. You know what I mean? Just a great, solid young man, and blessed to have him for these last 4 years, and depressed to know that he'll be graduating this year. Just once again, not even because of his football skills, uh, because he's just such a good quality, talented soccer player. Pero just the type of young man he is, if that makes sense. If you could, have 100 of those guys run through your program every couple years, it'd be amazing. But just a great kid, solid kid. Can't speak enough about him in a positive light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and coach, thank you for that. It's awesome. One thing we try to do here with coaches is to be able to talk. The community doesn't really know. And sometimes when they go out there for the first time or the first few times, they look at the number, they don't know who the kid is, right? They don't
Yeah,
know if they see something. I see people say, man, who is that kid? I've even
yeah,
done when I go, man, that kid is good. Who is he? And I got to get a name. And
yeah,
so you want to give the coaches the opportunity to talk about them because you guys see them more than the community, right? Outside of mom and dad, they're there with you, especially during the soccer season, and so you get to see what this kid is like
yeah,
outside of just soccer, right? In the classroom, in the school. And that's what we want to bring out. I mean, it's a sports podcast. We definitely want to talk about what they do on the field. But these
yes,
kids, a lot of them, it goes beyond the field. You see them doing some great things in the community. You see
yep,
them great things in the classroom, their studies. And so to be able to talk about that in full and give us a picture of what this kid is and talk about it, man, it's awesome. So thank you, Coach, for taking the time to talk about one of your players. Hopefully next week we'll have some more players
yep,
join the podcast. So definitely, Coach, thank you. This is a great first episode. I'm looking forward. Coach Will has committed to come on every Monday around 7:30 when he's available. So if he's not available, he'll let me know, and I'll definitely let the community know. I'll create a post and inform everybody through our MPND Sports Network Facebook and Twitter page. But outside of that, we've got him committed to come in Mondays throughout the soccer season to talk about his program. And again, thank you, Coach. I really enjoyed it. I think we had a great first episode. Looking forward to episode number 2 next Monday. Again, Mustang fans, come on out tomorrow. District starts here for the Ingleside Mustang soccer varsity and JV as they take on the visiting Toloso Midway Warriors. So I won't be able to be out there. But coach, if you can kind of send me the stats the next day or later
yes,
after,
sir,
appreciate it. Hopefully it'll be a win.
yes, sir.
1-0 in district, but for all the fans, if you can make it out there and the weather's good, definitely we'd love to have you guys there to support our Mustangs. But I'll give you the final thought here, Coach. Anything you want to add before we let you go?
I just want to say I truly appreciate you and everything you do, sir. I've been following y'all's podcast and been watching when I get the opportunity, of course. Been watching as many as I can. I remember following you last year and watching the football, and also, whenever the girls were in softball in the playoffs and such. I remember watching 2 of those episodes, and you putting light to Ingleside and all the players and you know the coaches, the community. It truly is a blessing to have somebody like you um, putting us out and putting everybody into the internet waves, if you will. And I just want to say I truly do appreciate you for doing this for us. It really is. You know, I am a man of God, and I do believe in blessings, and you are one of those blessings, sir. So I just wanted to say that. So that's my final thought.
Thank you very much, Coach. I appreciate the kind words. And like I said, I enjoy what I do. And I thought, when I put this together, people ask me, man, well, how'd you come up with this? And I said, one day I just, I thought we've had a lot of talent. And when I played, I mean, if the paper here in Rockport came to interview me once, I was happy. I mean, that's
Yeah,
all, right? We didn't have this technology when I was
yeah,
scoring. Now with the internet, it's like, man, we got some great players. And when I put this together and everyone that comes in to work with us, I tell them there's no negativity here. It's all
mm,
positive.
yep,
We're not gonna, dog coaches. We're not coaches, win or lose. We're there to support them. And so I want everything to be positive. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, there's talent here
yep,
that doesn't get noticed on both the girls and the boys. And I thought, hey, look, I've got some free time now. My kids are older. They do their own thing. I had some free time. I said, why not do this? And
yeah,
people said you should. And so I just started buying equipment. And here we are. But Coach, I enjoy doing it. Ingleside and Rockport compete, but they're our neighbors, just like Aransas Pass. We're right here next to each other. So if I can be a part of bringing out the best in what we have there in Ingleside, here in Rockport, in Toloso Midway, for me, we're Coastal Bend. I'm from South Texas, so I'm going to be
yeah,
able to do my small part to shine light on our programs here
exactly.
and the talented kids that we have. So thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday at
Yes, sir.
7:30. Coach Will be back to talk about his Ingleside Mustangs. Good night, Coach, and good
Yes,
luck
sir.
tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.